Good evening, my reflective Rabaceosaurus. My favorite part of sci-fi is when technology becomes so advanced that the only way to write about it is from the perspective of someone who doesn't truly understand. I was working on a deep dive for Drown Ideals and I found myself confused. How could any type of advanced technology do something like that? Is it magic or science? It must be magic from our perspective, so advanced we cannot understand it because it does not exist. We also see techniques so ancient they might as well be from an advanced civilization. Information is tricky like that. There's a duality to understanding the world we live in. I'm drawn to how Zenless demands we reconsider our definition of the truth. The more I looked, the more I noticed a profound connection to Tarkovsky's films. It shouldn't be shocking that a sci-fi game that features movies takes inspiration from some of the greatest sci-fi movies ever made. The story is a series of cinematic moments, a reflection, a dream, a challenge to our deepest desires. It demands we confront the one desire that connects us all. We want the truth, but there comes a time when it becomes available, and we must examine our definition of the truth. Is it the story we create to make sense of the unfathomable, or is it the grim revealing that the truth is fathomless?
Don't believe this! The truth! We want the truth! Disaster! Lies! It's all fake! It's not us! Watching our world. We're the story. Me, as a mediator. Illegal and shady. This is for everyone. Those monsters, places, big shots, ruthless people remain silent. So we'll fight. Hypocrites. Liars! Defeat them! It's amazing! Relax. Rest. Wait a few days. It'll all be all.
The story does not linger in the realm of the explainable. We must look at the foundations set by legendary films and literature to decode the new frontier of science fiction. And it's time for me to burst the bubble. The average person does not understand how their phone works. It is science, but it might as well be magic. We all know the quote from Arthur C. Clarke: "Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic." I don't need to explain to you that the device you're watching this video on would make a Victorian child's brain melt, let alone how any of the engineering marvels of the modern world would make my brain melt. We're lucky to not be facing the end of the world. It's tough to know what would really happen aside from knowing our technology is not advanced enough to deal with it. If an alien civilization invaded us and brought about the end of the world, what rule says the most brilliant people who ever lived would be able to figure it all out together? An advanced species would have many more years of information at their disposal, an innumerable amount. It is an impossible task fabricated by our fears and desires. That's why we see it in sci-fi. When we look back, we find an equally troubling paradox. There is an unwritten part of history, only whispers behind closed doors. Some of these great mysteries are still passed down, but alas, we are not privy to these discussions. This is the cruel truth of how sensory perception works in Zenless. The only characters that can create anything like the Hollows are using magic, or what feels like magic. It's clearly a technique passed down for many generations. One of the most important aspects of research is the peer review. Anyone can recreate these techniques, so it has to be in the gray area between science and magic, somewhere in the gap between the human body as a tool and being able to create something that can replicate part of what we can do. This is incredibly difficult. How many years did it take scientists to make a machine that can create all the sounds and shapes a human mouth can? The Sawada lab took over a decade to make their utterance robot. People have been singing since the beginning of humanity. I find it hard to believe that archaeologists found a flute dated back 50,000 years, and there was no form of singing or chanting. Singing is probably the best way of explaining this. There is a science to it, but we cannot recreate it without a massive amount of difficulty. This is the closest to how magic in Zenless works. I mean, sound obviously, and we know of the chanting, singing part of it. So this leads me to what is currently happening in the story. We are past the music is magic lore. We are deep into the hivemind's, aliens, time travel, and simulation aspects. All of this leads me to believe that Season 2 is peak sci-fi. We can see the discussion around magic in the game being a complete shift from Season 1. Oh, how they wish it would go back to science fiction instead of fantasy. I'm annoyed by these statements because it shows how people are looking for a techno-fantasy, not science fiction. Let's put it in perspective. An alien invasion that's not 100% evil, but it is a hive mind and it creates the hollows. The hollows are alive and deadly. The characters in the hive mind lose their memories and humanity. Be so for real right now. The cursed demon sword lore is peak sci-fi because it is clearly a technology the characters cannot comprehend. There is a clear set of steps to enter the hive mind, ascend to a higher dimension, and exist as an ethereal outside the hollows. How is this not science fiction? It takes all the wacky things from Season 1 and puts Bell and Wise directly in front of it. Put the Swabian temple arc aside for a moment. The Hollow took Yidhari's deepest desire and created a whole town full of people. The simulation aspect doesn't end there. Fairy tells us we are in the bad ending of a time travel plotline in a simulated world with a simulated threshold. There was no sugarcoating that lore. We know Yidhari being stuck in the cradle of the town is pre-scene foreshadowing for the cradle facilitating the entire universe that is being simulated. We are told before the game even launched. The characters who awaken with the creator realize they are the story. They are in a simulation. They physically cannot handle the truth, and we see this time and time again. Bringer and Dennis are two gruesome tales of insanity as the creator deems a human worthy of existence or not. The drowned ideals also give mountains of context to their situations. Bringer's new personality is almost identical to what Chien and Monato go through. Maybe the real Bringer is still out there, sitting in a cocoon, the creator patiently waiting for the hollow hero to pass their trials, keeping them until someone can break the curse. We just don't know. What if something like this is happening with other characters and we can't tell what the truth is yet? As we step deeper into this unknowable domain, the boundaries between what we know and what we imagine begin to blur. The best way to remedy this is to examine each aspect and hold our assumptions while we analyze them in context. I would like to be on the same page, so let's recap some of the lore we have to work with before diving into the remarkable similarities between movies, literature, and the Zenless story. The Dark Wall and the Hollow on the Moon are the two largest hollows that we see. Next is Hollow Zero, but what are they? They function as a mirror to the darkest parts of ourselves, but they are not just symbols. They are the result of an ancient war, vessels for the alien visitor, and a test for humanity. The hollows are zones or realms of space-time distortion. As of now, we know the hollows are most likely made of dark matter, and part of how they function includes converting normal matter to antimatter so it can be transported elsewhere. The hollows become hollow. This is how they got their name. We do not know why they are here, and we are told it is the result of an ancient war. The timeline doesn't go back that far. It's probably referencing something we will not get real lore on until we get deep into the story. Possibly a previous simulation or something that resulted in the creation of the simulation. The hollows produce miasma. This is the consciousness of the hollows coagulated in the form of a goo or clouds. It can also appear as the apparition of a person or an ethereal monster. When miasmic corruption occurs, we see the simulation break. The static is seen in the form of a moire pattern. You know this from playing video games. The anti-aliasing setting is very important. These characters are subjected to a world where the information that creates them is compressed, creating the miasmic corruption that is best for us to visualize as the anti-alias setting being turned off for them. I found the best example to be a strand of hair in front of my computer screen. Notice the rainbow that appears where it overlaps with the patterns embedded into the computer screen. The miasmic corruption sometimes results in drown ideals. This is the Hollow's attempt to contact the characters. They are a type of ethereal, apparitions of their deepest desires. They can also show up as other people or locations. But where is this consciousness coming from? We are told it is the creator, the one creating the Hollows, and we don't know much about them beyond their otherworldly origins. We know that they can create a simulation, they exist in the fourth dimension, and they are a hive mind. The Exaltists worship them, and the mayor of New Eridu has been collecting the sacrifices prepared for the creator. They are similar to the Honkai and Finality from the other Hoyoverse games, but it is the rebirth to the finality. I have a deep dive on how it functions, so please check it out if you haven't already. The dynamic between the creator, finality, sea of quanta or the abyss, and then the tree or the imaginary tree is closest to Maxwell's demon. We can replace the demon with the creator to understand how they function. The creator is the demon in the beginning when it is organizing all of the information. Now, we know that this is what creates the imaginary tree, taking the disorganized information from the sea or the abyss and organizing it to create these worlds. Once the creator learns everything it could possibly learn about the universe, and the sea and the tree are equal, the universe will be in a state of equilibrium and it must finish its work. The only way to continue doing work is to forget everything and start over. This is how the creator becomes the finality. Another thing taken directly from the other Hoyoverse games are the ethereals. These are mineral-based life forms in a constant phase change as they are converted to antimatter. We see them in Honkai Star Rail as the antimatter legion, but we also see it in Honkai Impact as the Honkai beasts. With murmurs of cinema and poetry echoing in our mind, we have a new perspective to approach the mind-boggling elements in Zenless. They are an homage to the films that changed cinema. Taking profound inspiration from Tarkovsky's films, specifically Stalker, The Mirror, and Solaris, Zenless goes a step further than most of the other gacha stories on the market by earnestly answering the unsettling questions these films propose. It goes deeper and uses the literature that inspired these films to explore the humanity in cosmic beings. Let's start with the most apparent one, Stalker. This is a sci-fi movie from 1979, directed by Andrei Tarkovsky, and the screenplay is written by Arkady and Boris Strugatsky. They based it on their novel Roadside Picnic. The real world and the zones are clearly separated in both pieces. The shift from sepia to full color shows they have entered another realm. Crossing this membrane means you must be wary of your surroundings. Space-time distorts and the true horror unfolds, perfectly encapsulated by this quote from Chapter 2 in Roadside Picnic. In some sense, we're all cavemen. We can't imagine anything more frightening than a ghost or vampire. But the violation of the principle of causality, that's actually much scarier than a whole herd of ghosts. Aside from them existing in the same universe, the main goal is similar. Find the thing that can grant your wish. In the film, it is a room. In the book, it is the golden sphere. In Zenless, it is a sword called the Truth. Nicole has a picture of it on her shirt, and this is what Arky went into Hollow Zero to find. The connections don't stop there. In Stalker and Roadside Picnic, there are 6 visit zones or zones of alien contact. Suspicious, there are 6 Great Hollows in New Eridu, and they are also connected to the interdimensional aliens visiting humanity. Speaking of those alien visitors, Lucia's ethereal dog Chestnut follows them in the hollow. This is inspired by the black dog in the movie. It asks us the same questions. It is an apparition haunting the 3 men, silently watching as if it is the consciousness of the hollow. This is twofold. Once they are aware, they can never be unaware. For the hollow and the zone, and the people exploring them, they must sacrifice the bliss of ignorance. One of the most compelling points is that a sacrifice must be made to have these mysteries unveiled. For Redrick in the book, someone must go through the meat grinder to deactivate it, a sacrifice to get the opportunity to go to the Golden Sphere. Arthur decides to run ahead and make that sacrifice. When Redrick approaches the sphere, the only wish he can make is an echo of the boy's last words. He begs the sphere for mercy on humanity, screaming the only words he can. The hell with it all. I just can't think of a thing other than these words of his: happiness free for everyone and let no one be forgotten. For the Stalker, he knows that he would not survive going into the room. No Stalker has. The writer and the scientist from the movie place themselves firmly in the threshold, backs together with the Stalker. Frozen in place, contemplation alone transforms these men. The room gazes back. The camera pans to its perspective. To the room, these men are the story. It gazes at them, and for a moment we get to see its perspective. I cannot stress how eerily similar this is to the imagery interwoven in all the movies I'm discussing today. Muted palettes become technicolor. The truth is unveiled. It rains indoors to reflect the sea of turmoil we can't contain. When we gaze into that sea, the connections to the mirror come into focus. During the first flashback, the rain starts in the home, not outside. We see the connections to Zenless in the way the Exaltist Overseer, Isolde, was able to make her monsters from the miasma. She says she has the memories to create the miasmic fiend, a monstrous recreation of Yi Zhang. She uses the monster to unseat Yi Zhuan and help her awaken to the truth behind the fall of the old capital. Isolde knows greed is behind the casualties in the defense force. They were protecting assets in vain, not the citizens they should have been. We also see it in the Hollows creating the town in Season 2, Chapter 4. The Drown ideals are used by the creator to show characters what they carry with them in the Hollows. For Minato, it's his cope that he needed to be rude to be given respect. For Shuyan, he must turn into his sister's deepest fear, truly being alone in this world. His transformation forces Zhao Guang to look into the proverbial mirror and face her deepest desires. Her wish for the Qingming sword to pick someone else, no longer needing to protect her brother and return to her more human emotions. Each wish granted, surrendering her to the brutal battle with her inner demons. We know this is a test she must pass to truly be worthy of the Creator's blessing and the Qingming sword. She moves forward. No matter how successful, she must transform. She cannot walk away from this and remain the same. The burden she carried drops from her shoulder, but she must carry the weight of the abyss moving forward. The rising tides of New Eridu are palpably aware. As the first city on Earth emerged from a boundless sea, the last city shall submerge into the abyss. The Creator extends its hive mind to manifest as the sea god, sun god, and a dazzling flower, making every desperate attempt to share its knowledge with humanity. This is Zenless's answer to the questions in Solaris, Tarkovsky's sci-fi movie from 1972. It follows Chris as he leaves Earth to assess the space station over Solaris. His father's friend's parting gift is a bone-chilling warning. The person he saw on Solaris outside of the space station, hovering, standing over the water, was someone he knew before arriving. Chris is doomed to experience Solaris, to bear witness to its awakening. He will be forced to confront his deepest desires, greatest fears, and a miracle of miracles. To fully understand what Zenless is responding to in Solaris, we need to analyze the movie and the game's story in tandem. I pulled quotes from the literature used as inspiration for both, and the book the screenplay is based on. It was written by Stanislaw Lem and published in 1961. It has the same name as the film, and there are images from the Divine Comedy and quotes from Don Quixote baked into this movie. We've been discussing these books for over a year on my channel. When you're done with this video, please check out my original prediction video for Lucia. I predicted that Yidhari would be a playable character and found all the foreshadowing for the type of role she would have in the story around the 1.2 update. The only thing we didn't know was her name, but she was always supposed to be here, and she has always been inspired by Beatrice from the Divine Comedy. We have a lot to discuss. We must shift from the blinding light to the depths of the abyss now. The poem I feel is ingrained in the films is one written by Tarkovsky's father, Arseny. This is the poem, "And this I dreamt, and this I dream." I chose the Peter Norman translation, and I have it linked below. "And this I saw in dreams, and this I see in dreams, and this again, sometime or other I shall see in dreams, and all will be repeated, and all will be made flesh, and you will dream of all that I have dreamed, there aside from us, aside from the world, wave follows wave to break against the shore, and on the wave a star and a man and a bird, and life and dreams and death, a wave upon a wave. I do not need a date. I was, I am, I shall be. Life is miracle of miracles, and on the knees of the miracle, alone like an orphan, I place myself, alone amongst mirrors in the wall of reflections of seas and cities, glowing in the fumes. In tears, the mother takes the child upon her knees." We see these themes throughout Tarkovsky's films. It is impossible for his father's writing to not influence his artistic vision. If Zenless is going to take inspiration from something well-known, it functions as a clue to find the real inspiration. This poem perfectly encapsulates several aspects yoinked and added to ZZZ's world building. The first is seen in the second line, "And all will be repeated, and all will be made flesh, and you will dream all I have dreamed." This is the attitude the creator approaches humanity with. They would like to create a more perfect world for people, bestowing gifts upon those it feels it can save. As New Eridu teeters on the precipice of the abyss, the creator must undertake the trolley problem. Banyue is given a similar predicament. Did he do everything he possibly could? It literally melts my brain that they made him make these decisions. It's a tough decision to move on from. Do you move on from someone and let them perish, or what do you even do? This is insane. We can see these themes throughout Tarkovsky's films. It is impossible for his father's writing to not influence his artistic vision. This poem perfectly encapsulates several aspects yoinked and added to ZZZ's world building. "And all will be repeated, and all will be made flesh, and you will dream all I have dreamed." This is the attitude the creator uses to approach humanity. They would like to create a more perfect world for people, bestowing gifts upon those it feels it can save. As New Eridu teeters on the precipice of the abyss, the creator must undertake the trolley problem. Banyue is given a similar predicament. He did everything he could to save as many people as possible. It's a tough decision to move on from someone and let them perish, but he stood with them in their final moments and carried out their final wishes. As a reformed man, he sacrifices his logic core, symbolically self-flagellating like Apostle Paul, one of the characters of these books that is referenced frequently in Zenless. He is one of the clues that we must look to determine if a piece of literature or film is being used as inspiration for the reflective aspect of the hollows, the part that holds a mirror to your innermost self, alone amongst mirrors and the wall of reflections of seas and cities glowing in the fumes. As the stories unfold, recurring symbols of this world play on our preconceived notions, turning well-known tropes upside down and begging us to see it from a new perspective. Let's analyze the book, movie, and Zenless through the lens of the Divine Comedy. This book had a profound impact on Tarkovsky's work. He quotes it in the mirror. The first line of Inferno is recited twice, and there is repeating imagery from the book. It also has a major influence on the Zenless story. A quick list of characters, but please note, this isn't all of them. The Roaming the Ether event is an Aeneid retelling. Spacebar is Virgil. Lucia is heavily inspired by Lucy of Syracuse. one of Dante's guides. And there's an NPC named Dante. The creator hivemind is shown as a tree with stars for flowers, conjuring the tree that shows up in the book. The most important for our discussion is Yidhari. She is the zenless version of Beatrice. Now, I'm not going to miss the opportunity to discuss well-written, beautiful women. This Beatrice trope is vital to understanding the discussion on consciousness and awareness in Zenless. It's heavy with yearning, frustration, and true reflection. Hari and Rhea are similar characters from Solaris. Hari is from the movie and Rhea is from the book. We cannot look past Yidhari and Hari. Yidhari is called Hari in most of the Zenless story. The connections are there, and I feel it is a little obvious. I'm surprised no one has mentioned this yet. These ladies show beauty is a symbol for consciousness, evolution, and divinity. Honkai uses battle suits or changes in the character's clothes to show that there is a change in the character's inner world. Zenless and any other Hoyo game following the creator instead of finality will flip this. It will show a transformation in how the character sees the world. Petite Planet confirms this. When you upgrade, you get to see more beautiful things on your planet, not a change in the character's appearance. Bella and Wise go through something similar. They do not get skins based on their upgrades. They get skins to add to the immersion. Every one of their major upgrades has been accompanied by a change in how they view the world. After they learn this technique from Yizhuan, they can see a glimpse of the truth in the hollows. They can reveal items hidden in the space-time distortions, manipulate the miasma, and see the hollow is alive, the heartbeat or the breaths it takes. However you would like to interpret this, it is not synced with the character, but with the hollow fluctuations. Yidhari must be the allegory for the creator because she's a writer, she cares about the narrative. She starts in a deep slumber, awakening when Phaethon and Spookshack find her. She reveals she cannot see the faces of her friends because they look like the echoes of the past that she sees. After rescuing her from Lemnian Hollow, she can see everyone clearly. Shortly after, she falls into another deep slumber and she gets the opportunity to edit her story with this newfound strength. In Solaris the movie, Hari starts with a blue mini dress and bells on her wrist. She is not wearing any makeup. Then we see her in a long brown dress with simple makeup and her hair in a low ponytail. She looks like Chris's dead wife at this point. When she realizes she is not the person she looks like, she decides to do the only other thing left in his memories of her. She has purple eyeshadow and her hair is down. Her dress also changes, something completely different from the other two, but more reminiscent of the first dress she is wearing. Rhea goes from a white dress to a long black robe and then a dressing gown as if she came out of surgery because she has surgery. Beatrice's beauty becomes more and more blinding as she ascends through the afterlife. Back to Yidhari. While walking around the town, we hear Yidhari's voice narrating a story. This leads Lucia, Monato, and Phaethon to find the town's dark secret. Yidhari starts by not being able to see anything but these dreams. She's stuck in this miasma web, and we get a flashback of Sarah sending her back to rewrite the story so no one dies. We know that if she finishes the story, the people stuck in the cocoons are going to perish, and Yidhari will most likely become an ethereal. Phaethon and Spookshack find her and get her out of the cradle. They find a safe house, and Yidhari reveals she cannot leave the hollow. She cannot see the faces of her friends, and she has visions of the past, making it difficult for her to determine what is real and what is an apparition. She can see Phaethon's eyes through the candy-colored fog. Their implants are connected to a hollow inside them. It's similar to an ethereal core. Yidhari can also see the ethereals clearly. Another check for the Bell and Wise are ethereals living outside the hollow, foreshadowing too. I'm delighted. So Yidhari confronts her innermost desire and the town disappears along with the voice. The creator is becoming more aware, and this suggests something about humanity will function as a mirror for them to face their own deepest fears. It may be a hive mind, but we have evidence that the hollows feel emotions too. In exciting moments, the distortions are more visible. It can be seen mimicking Nekomata's movements in Season 1, Chapter 3. It's struggling with something. almost like it's reaching out to humanity for help. It doesn't just show mercy to those it deems it can save, it showers them with the greatest lessons it can. The collective experience that formed the hive mind is perfectly crafting opportunities to prepare these characters for the real villain of the story, the inevitable heat death of the universe. In the prologue of Zenless, the creator gazes at Belle and Wise to make the initial connection, a look that shows its hope and desperation, a glimmer of light at the bottom of the ocean. The creator's struggle and reliance on humanity is seen in the use of Don Quixote as part of its inspiration. It extends these lessons to the characters it connects with. We know books by Cervantes show up all over Zenless, with his final work and true masterpiece being the main inspiration for Belle and Wise. Quixie being a reoccurring NPC, not just from an event, shows that this is more important than a throwaway gag. I mean, there's a quote for everything. Let me read you this one. "Senor," replied Sancho, "if the truth is to be told, I cannot persuade myself that the whipping of my backside has anything to do with the disenchantment of the enchanted. It is like saying, if your head aches, rub ointment on your knees. At any rate, I'll make bold to swear that in all the histories dealing with knight errantry that your worship has read you have never come across anybody disenchanted by whipping. But whether or no, I'll whip myself when I have a fancy for it, and the opportunity serves for scourging myself comfortably." We see that Dial In offers Bonniway a phone, and like the phones on 6th Street, voices of the past reveal a difficult truth. The type to remind us, the truth is a sword that can turn back time. Now we know for Zenless, this is a physical sword that can literally turn back time, but it is also the truth about the truth. The only thing that can reveal the unseen is to look and find it hiding in plain sight. Zenless tends to hide things in the most conspicuous places. Even the most shocking reveals have a mountain of foreshadowing. The creator likes to hide things in characters' dreams, though. We must analyze Yidhari's experiences with the knowledge of her story being an allegory and the connection to Don Quixote. The next quote is from Sancho again, and he is discussing dreams. This is the quote that is used in Solaris and the quote used to bridge the connection between Yidhari, the creator, and the inspiration. "I don't know what that is," said Sancho. "All I know is that so long as I am asleep, I have neither fear nor hope, trouble nor glory, and good luck betide him that invented sleep. The cloak that covers over all man's thoughts, the food that removes hunger, the drink that drives away thirst, the fire that warms the cold that tempers the heat, and to wind up with the universal coin wherewith everything is bought, the weight and balance that makes the shepherd equal with the king and the fool with the wise man. Sleep, I have heard say, has only one fault, that it is like death. For between a sleeping man and a dead man, there's very little difference." Yidhari's harrowing story is only possible because she is a manifestation of the otherworldly connection between dreams and the ether. How the hollow can hear their dreams as they rest their head for the night and see the dream they have dreamed and will continue to dream. See, it all comes full circle. That's my favorite part. Let's dive into the deeper meaning of each of these symbols. The world is in a constant flux. Tension builds as the characters confront the mysteries haunting New Eridu and surrounding their existence. The hollows symbolize the messy parts of our lives, the labyrinth we must navigate every day we are lucky enough to wake up. The key word is wake up. We cannot miss the forest for the trees. We must open our eyes and stop living in a fantasy world. We need to be the change we want to see because we have no control over anything else. This leads perfectly into the creator's real role in the story. An alien hive mind cooked up to ask us the most profound question proposed in Zenless. How do we know what the truth is? I already shared my interpretation of this question, but it is worth repeating. Is the truth the story we create to make sense of the unfathomable, or is it the grim revealing that the truth is fathomless? I want your answer to this question as well. For me, I don't know. All I know is that I do not know anything about this universe. While I may feel like a speck of dust inside a giant's eye, I can confidently say I know about the hive minds as a Hoyo concept. This is the real sci-fi Zenless is diving into. This is the aspect that feels like magic. The other stuff, we can make sense of it. It all has a clear reason for existing. The hive minds are weird though, and saying it is science would be greatly overestimating our own intelligence. The same goes for the music is magic aspect. The characters in the game cannot understand it completely because it is written as alien technology that they are still looking to replicate perfectly. I have talked at length about how wacky the hive minds are. I linked a playlist in the description box and it should pop up in the top right corner. We know this is the most important aspect of Zenless Zone Zero's sci-fi, aside from hive minds being one of the most important concepts in all of Hoyoverse. We see the characters have profoundly intimate moments with the hive mind in Zenless. We see their turmoil manifested as a test from their creator. It is alive, it communicates with the characters, and it bestows gifts upon them. A gift from the zones in the movie Stalker also shows this theme of how a disaster like this, being invaded by interdimensional aliens, might not be pure evil. It might just exist. It isn't aware of its destruction the way humanity is if it's functioning as a hive mind. It might not be able to understand. Monkey is revealed to have telekinesis at the end of the movie. Until this moment, her mutation and deformity seem to be hurting her mobility. She walks with crutches and is spoken about as if a horrific curse is placed on her. An important piece of symbolism that was carried over: when Belle and Wise interact with the creator, we see black and white. When the camera is on Monkey at the end of the film, the picture is in full color, like when they are inside the zone. The dog follows them home, the same way Inky is now Belle and Wise's pet. Anytime a black cat shows up in Hoyo, we know it has something to do with uncertainty. Are we in a bad timeline or the good timeline? We can't know until we open the box so that the cat can play in it. So let me know what you think. What's your definition of the truth, and what's your stance on the ether, science, and magic conversation going on in the community? I know it took me about 30 minutes to get through it. I'm sure your take is just as nuanced. For me, I know that I love that it's a story that treats us with respect. It consistently shows us lore instead of telling us in a bland, readable item. When we do get those, we get a glimpse into the character through a joke. You may not be in the mood for the long scenes or slow progression, but that's part of what makes it good. You may not be in the mood for a Tarkovsky film, but the long scenes and slow progression is what makes them masterpieces. Again, please share your thoughts down below, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.